Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the Sim Racing World DSL V8 Supercars series from round number 2. Last week, we were live from the streets of Montreal, a track that's well known within the Formula 1 circles and ultimately led to a lot of safety car interventions from the Sim Racing World Series. This week, we stay within Canada. We've moved a little bit further away. We're now in Bowmanville. So not the same sort of destination, not the same sort of track. And here we have a track with a ton of elevation. My name is Scotty Redigan Rankin. Alongside me, Tyson McAvoy. And on our camera packs, as always, the faithful Nathan Shibby Howard. Tyson, the drivers are going to struggle tonight. I've seen a lot of issues. We've moved ourselves into the first ever Melville equipment qualifying session. And the boys are out on track early. It's going to be about track position in qualifying.
Track position, draft, and tyres. I think that's going to be our big number one talking point, even for quali, even in the race. So it's definitely going to be interesting how these boys use that toe, how they're going to use their tyre management, because I think these guys can only do one lap. So
we'll be talking about tyre management, tyre wear all night long, much the same as the drivers were talking about from the Bending qualifying session. And about the way that the tyres will work. They're on board already, and that is what the start of the lap looks like. You'll come down here, sweep right through turn number 1, and then from here on out, it is tricky. You miss the apex by a millimetre, you miss the apex by a mile.
yeah, you can run a bit wide up the top of the hill there, and if you, as you said, you miss the apex by a little bit, you're going into the dirt and off to the side of the road, and that's your lap gone, or maybe even your race gone. So it's quite a difficult track, but if you push hard, you can get the lap time.
Moving off and up through the left-hand corner here, on the way down into Moss Corner. Tight, tricky, technical. The car bounces its way all the way through the braking zone. Then you crest the hill. All of a sudden, the car just does not want to pull up. You got to turn it back. That's Moss Corner. As Cow was talking to us, was designed by, I believe it was Sterling Moss in the 60s. So he said, why don't you open this corner up, turn it into a double apex corner. They did, and he got the corner named after him. Mario Andretti straight away. It's only a short lap. We're already 3/4 of the way through it. This will feed into the S's. A double apex right-hander followed by a sweeping left-hander. All the time you're trying to maintain enough momentum that you're not slow, but at the same time get the car pitched in. And finally, the final corner. It's white. Corner. There's going to be a lot of white-handed moments as drivers grip onto their steering wheels quite heavy. Tyson, a physical lap, not a lot of overtaking opportunities, and again, it's about getting that power down. The most ultimate spot on this racetrack to get right is the exit off of Moss Corner.
Yeah, as you said, it's a very short track here, so to get the lap time, we only got 15 minutes to do it, and a lot of cars on track, so finding that little air gap to get the done, it's going to be tough. And
ultimately, if you're cycling through the pits to get those tyres done all the time, well, you're only probably going to have 4 attempts at it, I think. I don't think you're going to need a 5th attempt at getting that lap time.
Yeah, as we look at the track map, there's a lot of cars cuddled up together, so as you said, it's probably only be a 3 or 4 laps in a hot lap, because yeah, you've got to change your tyres after one, because they seem to chew here quite a lot.
Where are we talking in terms of grip limitations on these cars? Is it front? Is it rear?
So it normally would be the rear of the car, but for some reason in testing today, we ended up seeing it up the front left. So the front left degraded quite a lot.
Now, there's obviously a lot of positions here where the front left is very, very loaded. You've got turn 1, you've got turn 3, which is Quebec corner. You've got Moss's corner, potentially pinch and brakes down there. You've also got the S's. It's pretty much all of the loaded corners around here, the heavily loaded ones, they're all left-handers. That left-hander around a minute and 20-second lap just does not get a break.
Yeah, and you're loading the car up, putting it in, turning it in, and just wearing it out, because as I said, it took 6 laps, I think, for the tyre to chew, and these boys are only trying to do 1. So, as we said before, when it comes race time, I'm excited to see who can survive.
Well, lap time started coming in thick and fast. Again, it's about getting out on that track, getting out on the track with that clear air, but at the same time, we want to get a toe to get a good lap time in. Robbie Bradbury in the 35 machine, early running, has managed to go out there and set the time to beat. It was a 16.454. That's 6/10 faster than he's run in practice. Sebastian Tixier finished, I believe it was P3 last week. is on top of the boards from practice was 16.3. So that's about the mark for these guys, what they're really chasing. 23 degrees Celsius track temperature as well. That's going to be critical for the drivers. It is a cool day, so they can get a little bit more out of them. But, oh no, Tyson, if you're on a hot lap and something happens, do you immediately just abandon and come straight back down the pits? Or do you think if it's early in the lap, you can reset and go again?
I think you go with the first one. You definitely want to reset and start again. You make that little simple mistake because that first section, there's so much time there. So if you make a mistake early, you might as well just bail and go again.
I believe this is Harry Dodds we're actually watching at the moment, who's heading up that back straight, obviously a teammate of yours. Just trying to find himself a little bit of track position. It's critical not only to find a clear bit of air to get your lap in, but at the same time, if you know that you're a second and a half, 2 seconds faster, you need to be that margin back from the next car up the road. So it's about setting yourself up. It's about timing. It's about putting yourself on the road at the right time, in the right place. Cars are going to be rejoining from the pits. I don't think we're going to see the perfect lap in qualifying. I just don't think there's enough space on track for it to be possible.
Well, a 16.4 is a pretty quick time out there. A lot of the guys already have just done the low 17s, and we've got two guys, you know, done a 16.5 and a 16.4, so that's pretty quick.
So everyone else is back into the 17s. There was a list of about 6 drivers during practice that were able to get 16s, so there is some pace lurking around there. Bruce Tannick is currently sitting on P2. He had a reasonable race last week, not necessarily ultimate speed race that he would have potentially liked, but he did get out of there. Kai Turner also had a strong race last week, was good showing. There was a few moments from him. He's unfortunately just disconnected from the service, so it's going to be hardware issues from the driver of the number 5. It's going to be a tricky night all night long. Track is just about chock-a-block with cars. At the same time, you just don't know when you're coming across the driver that's on a cooldown lap.
So we see Dylan DeBono now just completing a lap, going up to P3 with a 17 flat. So not a bad lap from Dylan as he runs wide, and he'll probably park it and go back to pit lane after that mistake.
Do you tow? Do you request a tow? Is that quicker? Do you want to do the cooldown lap? Do you want to just find that vacant bit of track? Yeah, look, straight away. Gets off the line. And that's critical because you don't want to compromise another driver. That is something that race control can deal with. They can elect to issue a penalty at the start of the first race. 2 races here tonight as well as we hit the halfway mark. And past that within qualifying, we'll have a 20-minute opener, a 40-minute feature race. Tyre changes going to be critical in that feature race. Do you throw caution to the wind, Tyson, or you think you just got to get a fresh set of rubber?
But you can't forget in that feature race, we've got a top 10 inverted grid. So that's just going to make it just as juicy and more exciting. So I'm excited for that one.
All right, well, keep your eyes out for drivers in pit lane, drivers exiting pit lane, drivers starting new hot laps. I did just see Bradley Walls actually done a reasonable qualifying attempt from the Sim Racing World driver. He's currently sitting in P number 12, and he's just exiting pit lane to have another crack at a lap. So that says to me there's a few drivers out there that still have laps. I'm seeing John Day, Stefan Lawrence, Dylan Thomas, Alan Dawson. Tixier, remember, has not set a lap thus far, and Kai Turner and Paulie Girl and a whole bunch of drivers that haven't set times. And I'll tell you what, you know what it is? Tixier can't set a qualifying time. He's one of the drivers that last week failed to finish their cooldown lap. He will start from the reverse of the grid. So I was looking for Tixier to come out all guns blazing. Won't be able to do so. There's a lot of drivers serving those penalties this week, Tyson.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate those guys made a quick mistake, or forgot to take their pit lane or the extra fuel and go back to the pits. But I must say, we've got a lot of numbers here tonight for our round 2, and it's great to see that, especially at a short track like this. We're going to have action everywhere.
So just having a quick look at the field that's available at the moment. Michael Locke running around in the 122s from the laps that he's put together. So that's 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32 it looks like. Going to be, it will be 31 drivers are so far entered into the session. 31 drivers will be in the race. Should Kai Turner and Mal Powers has also just disconnected due to a packet loss. So hardware issues. Sunday nights are quite a drain on the hardware. It's been a long week, and if you've been socialising, enjoying the old video games on the weekend, Tyson, try and have some fun with the buddies online. Maybe the hardware's seen its best days over the weekend.
Yeah, maybe. Especially, it was a beautiful weekend down in New South Wales in Sydney. I went out and did some rugby, and a lot of people might sit at home and just enjoy the video games like I wish I was doing.
I was up on the Central Coast playing cricket matches most of the weekend and driving Porsche Cup cars on the sim. So, yeah, my hardware's definitely had a workout.
But you're here tonight, ready for the commentate.
Yeah, that's it, mate. That's it. Well, it's, managed to get some laps in yourself over the weekend. You said you were obviously out there working with your teammates and perfecting setups, trying to dial things in, trying to look for lines and things. Did you get some personal racing done?
I haven't done any racing at all this week. Been a very busy week. My wife's been a bit sick and concentrating on her, and then come back and yeah, just nice relaxing week. It's been good.
Nice relaxing week, he says. Not in the simulator, mate. Are you even living? Oh, I think you've got it all wrong. Harry Thurs has just put in a nice quick lap, who's actually got a P4, but get this, Tyson, 1/1000th of a second. It's not often you see lap times that close together, but nothing really to separate Harry Dodds from Gerard Sanfuentes.
Yeah, and then if you look at the time between him and Dylan DeBono as well, that gap is just nothing. So the times here are quick between that top 5.
Yeah, and it's going to continue most of the way down. If you have a look at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, at that timing tower on your left-hand side, not sure if the colours are going to be nice and easy to read. I'm colourblind, so that's definitely a problem for me. 117.113, so 117.090, card sideways, manages to get through, continues on with the lap, but that might be a lap abort from, I think that's Bruce Tannock there, is it? Daniel Fritz did actually spin, but it was Bruce Tannock that's lap did get aboard, and that's what we're talking about. Have to get a clean lap in. Just come across a car that's making a mistake. We all make mistakes as drivers, and you don't want to do that. It's not intentional from Daniel Fritz in any way, shape, or form. That's just racing.
Yeah, we look at the top 2 times as well. As you say, like, it's very easy to make a mistake. We all do it, especially at a track like this. You make a mistake, and it's going to cost you a few doors, maybe a few panels. And we might see Mr. Dean Sinkovich show a bit of his colours tonight as he's sitting in P21 with an 18.7. Not a bad time for Dean.
Something else, there's a few more times starting to come through. I've just noticed as well whether a track might be just going away from these guys. Robbie Bradbury already set that 16.454, has just set a 16.771. Another time that's just dropped in there is Daniel Schultz. I actually got the opportunity to talk to Daniel. Said, I don't feel I should belong here in Super 1, but that lap time, that says he belongs. He's slotted in a P4. That's a cracking lap time from Schultz.
I'm with you on that one. That's a great lap of 17.084. He's pushing hard, and he's done a great lap there.
Yeah, something I was just going to mention was I believe it was Dodds who just set a 17.117. So that's less than 300ths of a second away from his best lap time. It's a short lap, so the laps will be shifted a little bit more closer together than we're normally used to. But that says consistency from Doddsy. He looks like he might be confident. The peak performance might not be there, but if he can just hang on and be that consistent driver, that is what it's going to take to get to victory lane.
And he's come a long way. He showed it on Thursday night when he took the Porsche to victory lane. He might not have been the quickest car out there, but his consistency pushed him through. And there was a few mistakes in front, and he capitalised off that.
Don't mention that. Do not mention that.
Don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Aiken.
No, I did not spin the car from out in front of him and offer him the lead in the opening lap. That never happened.
That definitely happened. What corner was that again?
It never happened. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway.
It was a double right-hander, winky face.
Doddsy and Bradbury are back out on the track at this point in time. Cowan's coming towards the conclusion of another lap. It doesn't look good from Andrew Cowan, and the time reflects that as well. 17.9. He's there and thereabouts, but I think he's got a lot more pace to show. Mr. Malpal's just completed a lap. Fritz has just completed a lap. Has improved his time. Cutterbuck has just finished a lap. Doesn't look like he's improved his time at all. Brett Taylor's out there on a lap in the final sector at the moment. Quash, Keen, have a look at the drivers. There's 30 seconds left in qualifying. So drivers will be on their last lap or right about to start their last lap. There will be no more time. Here they come through the last corner. And I believe that's Robbie Bradbury we're just on screen with. Did he just improve?
P3.
Andrew Cowan.
Wow, what a lap.
And Harry Dodds will follow him into P4 as well. 2 lap times at the last. Right there for, what is it, Tyson, the Precision Sim Boys? Is that what you call it?
Performance Sim Racing. Yeah, but I've got a note. Cowie out-qualifying Harry. Oh my God. Well done.
Do you think the most important thing, do you think Harry's gonna stop hearing about that sometime in the next month?
I don't want to comment.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, what happens when we have heat racing format is that the instant that qualifying timer ticks down to 0, that is it. Qualifying is over. Let's talk about our pole positions. Let's talk about the drivers right up at the top of the table. We did mention that Bradbury got a great banker lap down early. That was the mark for these guys to chase down. 7,000ths of a second. Covers the top 2. Andrew Cowan, we talked about these guys late on in the session, manages to sneak in the 16s, takes away P3. He'll have Dodds off along his outside. Moving back to row number 3, it will be Dylan De Bono for Velocity Sim Sports, alongside the After Dark entry of Daniel Schultz. Gerard Sanfuentes and Peter Pavlovich are going to make up your row number 4. Daniel Cutterbuck and Team MX Global Racing alongside Troy Dooley. Stephen Martin, another Century Motorsport entry alongside Matty Keane. Moving further back, we'll have Brad Wall for Team SRW Motorsport. That is a banging qualifying effort from Mr. Brad Wall. He'll be over the moon with that. Andrew Lang alongside of him. Jeremy Bosch from the Locked On Lads will be on row number 8, I believe that is, alongside Chris Miller. Michael Quash and Ty Delaney will make up the next row. Dean Sinkovich in at P19, one of his best qualifying efforts so far. Brett Taylor as well, rounding out your top number 20. Mal Powell is going to be off row number 11 alongside Daniel Fritz, Greg Leake, and Stephen Sinkovich, the old partners in crime alongside of each other. Michael Locke in P25, Sebastian Tixier, Kai Turner. This is where we get into penalties. So it's going to be Tixier's the first few penalties, Kai Turner, Alan Dawson, Paul Gerlin, Stefan Lawrence, John Day, and finally, off the back 2 positions, are you agree to your safety car drivers for this evening, which will be Stefan McCartan, the Milk Carton as he's quite commonly known as, and Dylan Thomas from Fishy Motorsports are your race controllers. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Lights are going to go on in just a few moments. Here it comes. Listen to the roars of the V8 Supercars live from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and they will get on the gas. Who's going to get the run down to turn number 1? There's a car in the middle there that's not got a great getaway. It's one of the Century Motorsport drivers, the KFC entry. The car's managed to gain a spot, and Brad Wall will settle in the background. There's a car in the fence off on the outside of turn number 1. There were cars that started around the kick. Keep your eye for Tixier back through the pack. He's got a lot of time to make up now as well as they finally get down into turn number 2. And it's Tixier that was the car that's parked at the exit of turn number 1. Not the start that he wanted. He wanted a whole bunch of positions to get through in this first race. Race control, we're reviewing that. Steven Sinkovich going backwards. He's let past a whole bunch of drivers. Dodds to the inside at Moss Corner for the first time. Makes contact with De Bono. That'll be a penalty for sure. Dodsy gets involved in one on lap number 1.
Yeah, Harry went for the gap there, and I think he outbraked himself and made contact with De Bono. So, as you said, there would probably see a penalty coming for that car.
Wasn't his corner we want race control we'll be having a look at. Now Daniel Cutterbuck's had a great start. Look at what he's trying to pick up. Keep your eyes on the Fishing Motorsports driver of Ty Delaney. There's so many drivers on the run through to the S's for the first time. The bulk of the field will get through here and clear it. There's a car off in the middle of the S's as well. Somebody's parked backwards. It was somebody inside the top 10. I've got no idea who that was.
Yeah, we got cars everywhere. I didn't even see who that car was going off sideways there, and he's rejoined the track, I think, quite safely. And we still say green conditions after a few cars have gone off, and whew.
Robbie Bradbury's lost 2 spots. Robbie Bradbury has lost 2 spots in the opening lap. Dylan De Bono trying to grab spots down the tail end of the field. So it's going to be Bruce Tannock, and get this, Andrew Cowan in P number 2. Cowie will be over the moon.
Yeah, Cowie's done a lot of practice this week to put the hard yards in. He's just got to make sure he can ignore the mirror and push forward, and he should be on for a good finish here, Cowie. So he did a 21-1.
Backwards down towards the tail end. I think it was Gerard Sanfuentes. So it's Gerard Sanfuentes, I think, that's gone backwards. Started P7, finished the first lap P26. Daniel Schultz was another entry that went to the rear of the field. Started P6, P28. Cars going backwards at a whole rate of knots.
As we can see, Dylan De Bono's car at the back of this pack. He's just trying to fight his way through the field after that contact. So we'll keep an eye on him because he is quite quick, so he will push through and hopefully he can get back at the front with the boys.
Yeah, and Sanfuentes has just put a call into race control to have a look at something that's happened on that opening stanza, but they will continue to run on. Let's see who can get through, and everything the Melville Equipment Corps driver who took out your qualifying effort for the first time that award's been awarded goes to Robbie Bradbury. Now let's see if he can use that car to get back through the pack and have a look. Are you kidding me? Is that Dean Sinkovic I see in P11?
Oh, I think it is. He's pushing on hard. He's avoided the action. He's up 8 spots from the start, so he's pushing hard.
And Matty Keane was not happy with him. Matty Keane is going to try and get this move back done. There was lights are flashing. Gets down the inside here. There is indeed contact. They biffed on a little bit again. Is Sinkovic going to pull it up? Just barely. Both trying to get away with that one. Oh my word. Keane and Sinkovic have done a miracle to get away with that one. Is that Tixier in the back? We're going to see stuff through.
How did Sinkovic hold on to that car there? He was right out sideways, punting Tinter from Scathy, but wow. How did he hold on to that?
Let alone, how did they not come back together and spin each other at the second time? Now Keane will get down the inside on the way into the S's, takes away pin number 11, and Sinkovic is too deep trying to defend that position. He's on the outside, and he's going to tag to Will, so P11 turns into P0 at the end of that one, and Matty Keane will get the job done. Peter Pavlovich has received a drive-through penalty from race control.
Car 9 is also requesting a tow, so we could be on for a safety car here.
So, tow of a car down in Moss Corner. He is parked across the apex from Mal Powell, so he's going to try and clear that one as soon as he possibly can. Does get out of the way, so that's critical. Race as soon as possible.
Oh, the race control cleared that, so that's good.
Pavlovich has served a penalty. So Peter Pavlovich will be going backwards, did get issued with a drive-through penalty for an incident on lap number 1. Race controller got their hands full, much the same as they did last week.
Again, same corner, but he gets on the track again. Ooh, a shifty rejoin there, but he was sideways and he got it back on track, and he's still trying to push on after that contact on lap 1.
And man, that guy will be angry. I do not want to be on the team radio alongside Dylan DeBono. That is not a happy camper. Well, Chris Miller will now get the opportunity to have a crack at Matty Keane here. Keane has snuck through into the top 10. Well, actually, you know what? I think Chris Miller might be on the defensive. Keane's taken this position away from him into the top 10. Tixier, something's happened to Tixier. Tixier might be done. Tixier's backwards at Moss Corner. So, last week's top 3, all of a sudden, just gone, because remember, we did lose, and the names have just gone. The instant you go to say something, the names just pop out of your head. They're gone. Jamie Dyke it was that was on the podium last week, and it was Bud, I believe, that was on the podium as well.
Ooh, 666 there off the side of the road and into the wall. Oh, he's rejoined again. We look everywhere, Scott. We got our action everywhere. I can see why you're mumbling your names up.
Well, that's what I'm thinking about. Oh, we wanted to see if we could get a replay of the start line. I don't think we can take our eyes off the live action. There's just way too much going on. Quash going backwards at this point in time. Drivers trying to draft it alongside of each other on the outside. The Riot Sim boys working together. Quash has lost 2 spots in the space of a straightaway. Tries to get back down the inside here and defend this one, but the Riot boys with the drafting have worked their way around the outside. Great launch. They'll get it done through the left-hander of the S's. Tyson, my word, opening laps in the V8 Supercars this season have been hit heavy.
Yeah, and the best thing is we get to do it again. We're not over yet. We've got still plenty of action, and this is only on lap 6, and they've still got 11 to go. Oh, this is intense.
We've been looking at the mid-pack for so long that we haven't returned our eyes to the front end of town. Bradbury got off for a flying start in qualifying, didn't transition it to leading the race at the end of turn 1. That's Bruce Tanak that's managed to do that for Mag and Turbo Motorsport. What a great run from him. And we've got Andrew Cowan still in there. Let's see if Bradbury will get all over him. You reckon if Dodsey will be running rear gunner for Cowie here?
Yeah, we can still see the 2 boys there holding onto their positions quite well. Cowie's surprising. He's keeping his pace. He's doing a 17.5 at the moment. The car behind doing a 17.4. Oh, it's going to be on here. It's still got a long way to go. Let's see if the teammates can work together, try and get this double podium for race 1.
Michael Lock, unfortunately, will be receiving a drive-through penalty for driving infringement. And Sebastian Tixier, well, he's on the podium last week, failed to complete the cool-down lap, started from the rear of the grid, and he's come a cropper. He has returned to race number 1, so no opportunity of trying to snag a reverse grid pole position. It has gone all kinds of sideways and messed up from Tixier. He'll return in the feature race for this evening. In the meantime, keep a look at those paces in the mid-pack into the 20s. But ladies and gentlemen, these drivers are capable of more. Why would they not be able to keep up with their regular lap times here, Tyson?
Well, it's just as we talked about that tyre, whereas I think we just see Kyrie run a bit wide there on the entry, and he's really close.
Sneak up on him. This is Moss Corner. He's going to look for the acceleration, backing him up into Harry Dodds here. So the teammates will be working together. Dodds had to back out. Bradbury's got a huge launch. He's a lot closer than he has been in a couple of laps here. The performance sim racing rear wing of Andrew Cowan. Is he going to get sent on here? Moves to the outside. From Rugby Bradbury, it's a long way around, but you'll keep the momentum up. You get the inside to the left-hand, and Cowie's defended that one quite nicely. Will he have a go from Bradbury? No, backs out once more. So this is on for P2, 3, 4, and Bruce Tannock has used this to skip away to a 3-second lead. Cowie's now really struggling with those tyres. Bradbury has to cover, but it's almost like an attempt at a block pass. Cowie misses turn 1. He's way out of the gas. He's way out of the tumble leads, and Bradbury will slip on by.
Yep, and then he also got his teammate right there, so these guys have got to really filter into the gap there and work together to try and get that position back. But opportunities, he mistake, and he took the advantage there, so good move.
We're not even halfway through race number 1, and Cowie's slipping a little bit backwards. He's going to get defensive here with Doddsy because he will want to hang on to that position if he possibly can. Keep your eyes on Gerland's going to pinch a break on the run down into turn number 2. And the rise back up to Quebec corner on the right-hander here. This is a huge battle pack. What a recovery effort so far from Dylan DeBono. And a 12 machine missing a front lid? You bet your life it is.
Yeah, the other performance sim racing car, a bit of damage there with some contact we heard earlier on. Sitting right back in the 23rd position. So it's a big battle pack here as we see now Doddsy, I think, was given the door there, and he's going to make an attack move going forward. So Cowie definitely left the door open for him, and it's good to see the teammates working together there.
Yeah, I don't think Cowie had much of a choice there. I think that was going to happen whether he wanted it to or not. Michael Crush is going to operate as cork in the bottle, as Alan Dawson will go around the outside. Daniel Schultz is entering his first season in the Super Ones. Unfortunately, from Canadian Tire's opening race, not gone his way. He's ended up with contact, and contact obviously with DeBono. That's forced DeBono down the order as well. Not happy about that one. So DeBono's up to 14th. Another spot picked off, and there's 2 more directly in front of him. Then there's a little bit of a gap, you know. P10, P11 are starting to skip away a little bit. That's Matty Keane and Alan Dawson.
Yeah, I also want to note that after the contact with Dylan and Harry, there's been no drive-through, so maybe Dylan didn't call that one out. That's a bit strange.
I have a feeling he did, but I have a feeling just with everything that's going on, race control might have just missed it. So that might be one that'll get reviewed post-race and something applied there. We'll keep our eyes for that one at midweek. Paulie Gerland doing a great job here for DSL Racing. But I actually want to have a little bit of a chat and see if we can find Peter Pavlovich. I feel like you've got some intel on Mr. Pavlovich over there for Central Motorsport. Tyson?
Yes.
We've lost Tyson. No, we haven't. Anyway, moving right along. That margin at the front end of town starting to open up a little bit. Robbie Bradbury's just on a 17.5, so we'll take half a tenth out of Bruce Tannock, but that's 3.5 seconds, and there is 10 minutes left to get that one done. That is going to continue to fall in the way of Bruce Tannock. Butterbuck is on a huge deal of pace at the moment. He's actually taken a few tenths out of Andrew Cowan. So Cowan is struggling on those tyres, and he is just trying to settle. We'll see what he's capable of doing. For everyone right now, I think that critical position, Tyson, it's got to be P10. The reverse grid race coming. You want to finish in P10 where you can.
Yeah, you'll be ashamed if you're pushing through and you get to the P11 in that reverse top 10 grid and you just miss out. So as we see a car off there, and it might be a lap car, but
Michael Lock, I believe it was, pulled off to the side of the road a long way down, and has served a drive-through penalty as well. But Matty Keane will be hella keen to get this one away from Alan Dawson because it means starting on P1 for the next race.
And we see now we go back to the front, guys. Cowie's on the defense again. He's got 2 cars attacking him. He's sitting in P4 at the moment. He's got 2 fast cars of Daniel Clutterbuck right behind him, putting all the pressure on.
Yeah, so Clutterbuck will be looking to open it up, setting the move up. That's what it's going to be like around here, Tyson. Where are you looking to assault the car ahead of you?
Yeah, it's a very tricky track to overtake. Turn 4 is probably your best option, or getting that draft and try and get down the inside and pushing your car off a bit wider. Just even putting the nose in.
Hang on. What's happened here for Bruce Tannock? Is that looks like that might actually be a replay. I don't think we're live at this point in time. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll just ask you to bear with us at the moment as we try and get live pictures back. I believe we might have just gotten them back. Some technical difficulties going through. Yeah, it looks like we've got live pictures back once again. So, apologies for the momentary delay there. I was a little concerned for Bruce Tannock because I thought, oh no, what's happened here? He's comfortable. That's good to see it was only a technical difficulty.
Yeah, and we're back live, as you said. Yeah, we're back here and on the battle for 19th and 18th. With Ty Delaney, one of the new recruits for the Fishies. I think it's his nephew. And
it is related to Blake Delaney, I do know that much.
Yes, and pushing hard. It's good to see him back this season. It's his 2nd season. He was a late comer mid-season last season. I say last year, but and he's been good. He's learning a lot, and he's out there pushing hard in the 19. Well,
I said that maybe 3 seconds was a little bit too much to overhaul. I might have to eat my words here in a minute because Robbie Bradbury's just set a 17.474. He has just taken nearly half a second out of our leader of Bruce Tannock. He is running out of time. He will need to set that lap pace to the end, if not better. And he will get there with a corner or 2 to spare, then have to try and get the move done. That's not going to really work for him. It's going to have to be better than that for Robbie Bradbury. Might be time to settle for P number 2 in race number 1.
There's a car off on the edge there. Car number 10 in the fence. And he has been cleared to tow by Racing Control. But yes, I think these guys here that are sitting in this pack might have just burnt their tyres a bit, having a battle, and that's released the guys in front. Well, as you see, Cowie now having a shape on his teammate.
That's an interesting one from Mr. Cowan. Sam Big Old said, unless that was defensive, if he thought he was getting a little bit assaulted from the rear, or is it he's looking for fresh air to that front splitter?
Yeah, well, Doddsy hasn't really broken away like he probably thought he would as he's taken that position off Cowie for P3, and he's kind of just sat there, so maybe Andrew's going, well, give me my spot back.
Well, that's it. You've got to punch on. You've got to get down in pursuit of Robbie Bradbury. And mind you, Bradbury has disappeared on these guys. Bradbury's 3.5 seconds up the road and continues to try and assault Bruce Tannock. Tannock, however, has responded and matched him that last time around. We've got another car off and parked on the sidewalk at this point in time. Stevie Martin is going to try and have a go here at Clutterbuck. He's been sitting there for a long time. I think Stevie Martin's gone, you know what, I've got to have a go. It's time.
Yeah, there's only a couple of minutes left of this race, and he's probably sitting there thinking, well, I've got to go. As you said, I'm running out of time.
Well, down the straight is the last in a queue of 4 cars. Huge draft potential on here. It's going nowhere. I'm wondering whether or not Stevie Martin might be just running a click more or a rear wing. And that is enabling, the draft starts to come into play, shapes inside, forces a little bit of a defensive move from Clutterbuck, and Clutterbuck gets a little unsettled in the middle of the corner. Look at those brake lights flickering. That's how much these drivers are struggling just to hang on to the cars. It's nearly a downshift. Just lift off the throttle and hope the thing turns in, Tyson.
Yeah, this would be good information as well for some of these drivers to take into the next race, because it is a longer race, 34 laps or 40 minutes. So all the tyre data they get here, maybe they'll take it into the next race to use in the strategy, because they will have to make a pit stop, because I know their fuel numbers won't get them to the end.
I can tell you what, this is a phenomenal drive from Jeremy Bush, who's doing a cracking job taking on to P8 at this point in time. But Alan Dawson says, you know what, don't really feel like pole for the next race. How about P2? As he's going to start to assault the rear bumper of Troy Dooley. And Matty Keane's not too far back and out of the picture at this point in time either. Race Control might want to get onto that car that is still parked on the side of the road.
Still trying to get out of there.
Bruce Tannock Thurs just had a rear collision with John Day and put John Day heavily in the fence. I don't think Tenek knew what was going to happen there. Will race control have to rule on that? That's a tricky one. That is so tricky. We'll get a replay here in a moment, I am sure. But this is a performance sim racing driver, and John's just obviously not having the best of hopes. He's trying to get out of the way of Bruce Tenek. I just don't think Bruce realised.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting replay. I think, as you said, he's a new driver to performance sim racing. He's not used to the supercar. He's just learning the car, and he's actually from America as well, so new to the car. He wants to learn. He wants to drive it, but yeah, it could be a mistake there from John.
Is he constantly reaching over and go, what are these 2 extra gears? Why do I have 5th and 6th? I don't use those. Well, the live action replay is going to show us from DSL Welding. So he's on the grass and had a big old wiggle. And Bruce Tenek's had absolutely nowhere he can go. When a car reacts like that, you gotta, he's just in a bad spot.
Yeah, he's just clipped the grass there, and he's gone straight in front of the race leader, and ooh.
He's done well to save it, and that's just unfortunate.
Yeah. There's nothing he could have done there.
Oh, well, such it is at this point in time. Let's talk about our Melville Equipment Corp fastest lap of the race so far. I believe that would have been set in the opening running, and indeed it was. It's a 1:16.7, and that belongs to Bruce Tenek, the car that you just saw on screen, making contact with the rear bumper of a lapped car, trying to get out of his way. Well, doesn't matter. He was quick enough in the opening stanza to really blow the covers off of this one. And I have a feeling he's just picked up the white flag and might have one more lap left to go. So as time starts to tick down, no, we're going to get the full complement of 17 laps in here.
You actually get the full race distance here, and we just heard race control reach out to the car 9 that we saw off the side of the road. He's more than welcome to tow if he can't get it back to pit lane, which is great to see.
Yeah, and there's another car that's off P23 at this point in time is Dean Sinkovic. So Sinkovic will return. Ladies and gentlemen, Dean Sinkovic is now available for lawn mowing base services. Troy Dooley slipped back to P number 10, and this is now Matty Keane. He couldn't catch up and pass Alan Dawson, but he's just quick enough. Pinch break here for Troy Dooley. He is struggling. Dooley's all over the road. Big old wiggle coming off of turn number 3, Quebec corner. Now the run down the Moss corner. He's got him clearly, and Matty Keane is going to be starting off the front row unless Dylan De Bono.
Oh.
That's netcode. That's a huge netcode. De Bono is so deep down there. This is critical for Dylan De Bono. White flag is out. This is the last lap of the motor race. So De Bono's got one more spot. If he can steal this one away from Matty Keane, he might have just rogued his way into a potential podium finish in race number 2. So this is critical for De Bono's night. This is the difference between P1 and P11 for the next race. Matty Keane's going to look to cover that one. He wants to defend it. De Bono's a long way up on the right-hand side. Keane still looking to defend. De Bono to the inside. De Bono ahead, and what a move from Dylan De Bono, but he's going to get drag raced to the line. Not quite long enough, and Matty Keane gets picked up and shunted back to P11, which he just stole away on that lap. He got to P10, and it was immediately ruined. And Dylan De Bono will be counting his lucky stars that he got back there to P10. That is exactly where he wanted to finish a troublesome race number 1.
Yeah, and we want to point out as well, Cowie got back up to the podium spot there. So I think Harry might have made a mistake. We'll try and find a replay of that one, but well done to Cowie there and getting the podium for race 1.
Tyson, I don't think you're going to hear the end of that one sometime the next month.
Again, I don't want to comment on it.
Oh, my word. What a banging race number 1. And that only sets us up for an even better race number 2. Let's talk about the grid order now for race number 2, because that is going to be absolutely critical for these guys. It's based on reverse top 10. So Bruce Tenek, race winner, starts P number 10, but it's Dylan De Bono off at the front row and Jeremy Bush alongside of him. That's critical, Tyson. If you're rolling off at the front row, as was it Dodsey did in the Porsche Cup on Thursday night, translates to a race win. And I think De Bono's season would very much benefit from that.
Yeah, you got to really roll off and hope your P1 goes off at the double right-hander in the Porsches, just like Scotty did. But you're right, Dylan can get a really good start there and make amends for his race one.
To be fair, and in Dodsy's, I was going to give him the spot. I just didn't want to do it that early. And in that,
You wanted to do it climatically, so everyone could see it, and it was awesome to see you just go, here, Dodsy, here's the door.
I just wanted to get more Team SRW Motorsports time on air, and I think I successfully did that. Although, you know what? It probably would have been a lot more time on the broadcast if I'd led the lap.
Yep, definitely. But hey, it was still good to watch, and we're speaking about it 3 or 4 days later, so you're getting the what you achieved out of it.
I'm getting the mileage.
That broadcast time.
Mate, all right. You win one race around here, and all of a sudden everyone expects the world of you. Okay, race number 1 results. A 20-minute sprint race format. 16 laps was the difference, one shy of our maximum race distance of 17 laps. Bruce Tannock comes away, started on P number 2, finishes P number 1. Poor getaway from Robbie Bradbury. Will he be ruining that? Finishes 2.8 seconds back. Did take a ton of time out of Bruce Tannock, but not to be enough. Andrew Cowan will be sitting there yahooing on the sim. And have a look at this. Harry Dodds and Stephen Martin. Have a look at the time difference for P4 and P5. 9.104 for Dodds. 9.108 for Stephen Martin. Moving back to Daniel Clutterbuck, who lost a spot to Martin in the closing stages of that one. And then Brad Wall was a further 8 seconds back off the rear end of that one. But a phenomenal finish for Brad Wall. P number 8 will start off the second row of the grid. Jeremy Bush and Dylan DeBono will make up your front row. Matty Keane will be in P number 11. Paul Gerland, Brett Taylor, Michael Quash, Andrew Lang, Troy Dooley. He dropped a whole ton of spots. He was sitting in the top 10 for such a long period of time as Troy Dooley. Those tyres got the better of him. Keep your eyes out for that one. Peter Pavlovich from Century Motorsport had potential, but at a tight, tricky motorsports track, unfortunately not able to make it stick. Stefan Lawrence in P18, Chris Miller and Gerard Sanfuentes, another driver that was deep inside the top 10. They've got 40 minutes now, these guys. They're going to have to sit down, flip it around, and Tixier, remember, Tixier's still got to come from the rear end of this grid. Did not score points. Neither did Kai Turner. Unfortunately, his issues were terminal, did not return to the server. Mal Powell, remember, sat there and towed for a long, long time. Trixier did actually complete enough laps to finish ahead of Mal Powell and will roll off of P29.
Yeah, so it might have been as well. I was just going to say, Harry might have just redressed that position to Cowie because he might get a post-race penalty as well. Because we did hear Dylan DeBono again reinsuring to the race control. Did you see that incident? So that could be the reason here. As we got a warm-up in between these races now. We got about 6 minutes to go, so these guys can now practice their pit stop entries because it's quite a narrow pit lane as well, and the entry to pit, it's just off to the right in the last corner, and it's at high speed.
Shout out to the Fishing Motorsports crew because it is a big old family over there. We've got Mr. Sippermeter, who returns to the Sippermeter truck tomorrow night in the NASCAR Truck Series. That car looked fantastic, Peter Morris, by the way. I know that you're listening in. Comes out and says it is a father-son combination for Blake and Ty Delaney. And to be perfectly honest, I think one of my favourite memories is actually participating in when I first started playing senior cricket with my dad, who hadn't played cricket in such a long period of time. We were both there and opening the batting together. And I have a feeling it'll be the same sort of memory-building experience for the guys over at Fishing Motorsports for Blake and Ty Delaney. Yep, look at the mistakes. That's fine. Keep making them. Here's what you need to do. Here's where you learn. Here's where you make a shove the nose. It's all about that. It's such a family environment over at Fishing Motorsports. It's exactly the environment that you want to build.
Yeah, and with all the fishy guys, there's a lot of fish in that sea. Yeah, you've got a lot of cars. And the piranhas are out always biting.
Yep, that's it. You've got to keep them fed with the piranhas. You can't just let them go. They will snap. That's not something you want to sit on the end of a line for an extended period of time. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you've been enjoying the broadcast so far. We want to say a big shout out to all of the sponsors here from Sim Racing World TV. These guys make it happen. These guys make it possible. We have paid race controllers, paid broadcasters. All of this is possible at the condition and the quality that is on screen because of them. So it's important that we remind you how these guys make it possible for all of us. Pagny and Advanced Simulation, big shout out to these guys. Brand new on board for season number 3 of SRW on board. They've been a big part of things so far. Melville Equipment Corporation, they've got one fastest lap, they've got one fastest qualifying lap, and they've got their first ever qualifying session as sponsors out of the way. DSL Welding Series. It's happening already, Tyson. DSL Welding Services are all your welding services needs, and they are the major sponsor for the V8 Supercars here on the Sunday nights. And don't forget Dragon RC as well. If you want something, don't forget to jump on over to dragonrc.com. It's been a broadcast so far. What's your biggest moment from race number 1, do you think, Tyson?
Well, there was a lot of them. How can I pick one? I'm going to say the lap 2. Well, lap 1 to end of lap 2, the car that was off at the end there, the rejoin from him. Oh, I can't remember who it was because there was so much action, but definitely the start of that race. Unfortunate for Dylan De Bono, but probably Cowie getting the podium, I'd say.
I want to say Dylan De Bono is one of those figures within the sim racing world. He's a lot of people just can't get on with the way that he races cars, but from that's unlucky. You've got to feel for the guy.
It's just down to there's a door there. He went for it and it closed, and the room was there. The racing room wasn't given by Harry. It was contact. He's probably going to get a post-race penalty for that. But Dylan will show us what he's got here in this second race, and he made a couple of mistakes. I think Dylan will be my hot favourite for this second race. What do you think?
I think he's got a great opportunity. He's got to fire off quickly. He's got to charge off in the lead, and he's got to try and set sail, all while looking after those tyres. 6 laps was what Tyson said to us pre-race is when the tyres will start to fail. Keep your eyes on lap number 7 onwards. And remember, these guys are going to make a pit stop. Do they split it in half? 20 minutes? Or do they try and go as long as they possibly can on the fuel? Do they undercut? Do they come in early and look for a little bit of track position and suffer tyre damage? That is the question that's got to be solved by these guys. And your boys have been working quite hard on their strategy, I hear, this week, Tyson.
Yeah, so the strategy that I've given the team today is to, depending on your position, especially with a reverse grid. So if you're at the back end of the mid-pack and you're behind, you're aiming for lap 10 or lap 12 to pit. And if you're a bit further back, lap 10's your goal. It's because you've got nothing to lose and you might get that mid to late safety car for your tyres. But it's all about playing the gamble game and which one's your best strategy. But if you're up the front, you've got to go as long as you can so you can get those green set of tyres for the end.
Now, I'll say this. Let's throw this caution to the wind. Let's say we get a safety car with 15 minutes to go. Let's say you're sitting about P10. Yeah, the tyres aren't all that great, but you're always going to finish P10 where you are. Everyone ahead of you pits. Do you just go, you know what? Stuff it. Let's have a crack.
I probably would stay out if in that case because it's a very tough track to overtake. And the tyre advantage will help only on exit, as I said, for about 6 laps. So if you can hold off for those 6-lap period, it's a good gamble. Yeah, you got nothing to lose. What do? You're going to pit and be, 10th? Or you're going to go out and say you might be the leader. That's a good opportunity there.
What's the biggest difficulty in trying to bring the tyres up to temperature? Because is it a cold... You're going to fire out of the pits. You're going to have a little bit of an opportunity to weave around on a safety car. Can you get enough temperature and pressure into those tyres that you can fire off immediately and be like, yeah, okay, we've got something here?
Well, with the supercar tyre, it's actually the cold tyre that is the best tyre. A hot tyre, it just wants to spin out. It just wants to go off the track. So a cold tyre is the best tyre.
Right, so you reckon that there's no deficit for being on a cold tyre, as there might be in the Porsche Cup. That thing just does not like its cold tyres, doesn't want to settle in, or the SR10 Radical doesn't turn in at all on its cold tyres.
Yeah, there's two different strategies, and then different cars. So as you said, the Radical, it takes 3 or 4 laps to get up to temperature. In a supercar, you got to just go out there, bang off the bat, and use that fresh rubber. So it's different type of cars and different tyres. It's what I love about iRacing. It's not just the same tyres on every single car. Everything is different.
I think an interesting aspect of it as well is do the tyres get hurt if you go out and you fire off and you just push that little bit too hard? Do you pay for it quite aggressively, or is you've just got to go out there and you've got to suck that little bit of life out of them whilst they've still got it?
Yeah, that's the big talking point, especially here. If you go out and you burn those tyres, they're going to be cooked and you're going to struggle.
So it's not it's a gently, but at the same time, you've got to get something out of them.
That's right. You've got to really just drive the car, not overdrive it, don't burn those rubbers, and just really push in without losing the cars around you. Because in the long haul, we saw those guys at the front just take off. Wakawi and Harry are battling there in that stage, and they ended up losing a lot of ground because they cooked their tyres.
Another factor is, well, I mean, you've burned them off. Do you think you can hold off the field? We've got a lot to go through in race number 2. That's your grid. We'll cycle through it nice and quickly. There's going to be about 10 seconds here before we get those lights on, lights off, and go. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, Sebastian Tixier on the podium last week did not finish race number 1. Can he finish race number 2? Lights are about to go on. The revs will start to rise. Race number 2 of V8 Supercars from Tyre Motorsports Park. And it's going to be green, green, green on the way down to turn number 1. And DeBono is out of monster launch. Jeremy Bush has not gotten off all that well. He'll slot back into P number 3, P number 4 already. Bradley Wall already alongside of him, looking to get contested positions early on. It's a long way around the outside. And Brad Wall's missed the corner. He had an opportunity from the reverse grid race, and it's gone wrong for Brad Wall. Started P number 4. He is going to drop off the tail. And Sonic, are you kidding? Braddock, the leader from your first race of the night in the fence on lap number 1.
Yeah, we also had a car on the grid who stalled as well. So there was action at the start of the grid who stalled at the back, and we're still seeing
car around. And it's still unfolding. The DSL Welding Services car got served, completely served. You could go to a restaurant and service like that would be awesome. Not in a V8 supercar.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of cars there spinning sideways there. Oh, what a start of a lap.
What a start of a lap. We're already 3/4 of the way through it. 40 minutes. 40 minutes of this, ladies and gentlemen. Petar Pavlovich didn't have a great race. Number 1 has already gained a whole bunch of spots. And is that Schultz just in front of him as well? You better believe it is. So those guys will duel on like it is on all night long. Look for their pit lane strategy. Tixier is immediately underneath them as well. Tixier gets a great launch down the inside of turn number 1. And Pavlovich just says, look, you know what? I think you'll just have this. I might be able to pick something off. Pavlovich fights back on the outside, gets a reasonable launch, sees it going down into turn number 2. So Tixier started P29, P16 at the end of the first lap. 13 spots. Look at Jeremy Bush trying to defend around the outside from Stephen Martin and Century Motorsports. Bradbury's teammate. Bradbury will try and line him up here on the run down into the hairpin this time, and Cowan's underneath his rear wing. Bush is the cork in the bottle, and Martin's got the job done there, so Martin will try and set sail. Now it's going to be on Robbie Bradbury to respond. And Tixier, Sebastian Tixier, has had a black flag drive-through penalty again.
Yeah, it's not been a good race for him so far. As you said, he's received that drive-through penalty. As you see, DeBono now under threat and under attack. Alan Dawson. Alan
Dawson, the Riot Sim Racing driver. He had an average first race. This is his opportunity. What can he do? Clutterbuck's having a great start, and your teammate Tyson Dodds is already up to P number 4 as well. So this lead pack are quick, and Clutterbuck is going to come out with a cracking lap early on. Clutterbuck's going to be the guy that takes away our Melville equipment. Fastest lap early on. Clutterbuck fires it down the inside here. He's looking to try and get the job done here on Dawson. Now, will Dodds respond? Dodds is going to go down the inside here into turn number 3. Quebec corner. Yeah, you'll stick it down there, Dodds. Get it done, son.
Yeah, that's a good move there. The door was open and he went down there and he got the job done. So now he's got to move forward and try and get the back on Allen and maybe get past Dylan again.
And Jared Sanfuentes has had another tough start to race number 2. He is only just in front of our leaders, so he's going to have to let these guys go in a huge hurry. Sanfuentes is not having a great night in either race.
As you see, the pack here, it's always a few boys, especially Cowie, trying to push through. He had a good first race. He's trying to push with Robbie here, sit on the back. His top 10's quite close.
And Brett Taylor doing a phenomenal job up the inside. Now he'll take away P number 11, trying to sneak his way into the top 10. Troy Dooley's had an opening lap of goodness. He's snagged himself back those 5 or 6 positions he lost late on in that next race. Daniel Schultz is all over. There's a Sim Racing World car in the middle of this. Schultz has just cleared him, and that'll be Dean Sinkovic. Pavlovich will try and line him up next and have a shot. Bruce Tanek is just behind these guys as well, so Tanek might dive to the pit lane nice and early. So another drive-through penalties getting handed out at this point in time, I believe, as well. Caution flags in the air, safety car early on, and I bet Tixie will be one of the first to the box, and Tanek will probably follow.
Yeah, there was a pass there. I'm not sure if we're under yellow yet because these guys seem to be still racing.
So,
yeah, race control, I think, just confirmed that we're still green. As we see now, Dean Sinkovic go up the inside. Hopefully we don't give him the commentator's curse as we did last races.
Oh, a little bit of hip and shoulder, just tried to turn in. There's another car that was down the inside there. There's another car down the inside again, and there's Pavlovich who's missing his hood. Oh, well,
Peter's on a charge, and Dean should have the straight line now because that will hurt his aero. And even though it's a short straight, and the gear should be only 1,000, but you know, Dean should definitely have the straight line advantage here.
And keep our eyes back up on the leaders because Steven Sinkovic is just in front of them at this point in time. That lead pack is closed up yet again. It looks like the draft is the key. And Clutterbuck so far has got the fastest lap of the race. These tyres will start to fade now. De Bono's not able to break free. Dawson's going along with him. And Harry Dodds is just lurking beneath the surface. Got up to P3. We saw that great move down the inside. Sinkovic has run wide, so he'll clear off the front end of these guys. And keep your eyes back further in the pack as the guys that were off in the first lap trying to make their way back through as well. Schultz is doing a phenomenal job there. And Tanek, after being off the road, that's actually a reasonable response from Bruce Tanek.
Slow car going into that corner. He's heaping out of the way. I think it's a lap car.
It is.
Does a good job there.
Steven Sinkovic has just said, I want to get out of the way. Keep your eyes on the lead pack. And you're looking at Jeremy Bush still defending from Robbie Bradbury. So I thought Bradbury would be able to get through here nice and quickly. Now it's going to be Alan Dawson who looks to the outside of our race leader. This could be the change of hands. At this point in time, looking for the nose from Harry Dodds. Turns in a little bit early. De Bono drifts wide. That's going to open the door for Dodds. Dodds will go to the inside. Will be held off by Alan Dawson. Dodds will look for the overlap. Looks for the crisscross. Wants to not jump out of the queue. The first guy to jump out of the queue will get murdered in a straight line.
I thought Dodds was going to force it 3 wide there on the back straight, but he thought better of it and pulled back in.
Yeah, it's all about racecraft. You've got to set yourself up, play the long game. I don't think De Bono wants to lead this pack. He's doing the best that he possibly can. Dawson will want a little bit of retribution. I think he thought he could get out of that corner a lot quicker than he did. So De Bono has got a horde of hungry, angry V8 Supercars drivers, and the only thing this needs is a piranha from Fishing Motorsports.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're missing here, just to spice it up some more. But Dylan, he's driving very good there defensively, keeping this P1 position as he got a bunch of, I think we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 cars behind him coming for that P1.
Well, it is. Yeah, it is a horde of cars. I think it's 9. The top 9
cars. Within 2.7 seconds as they cross the line the last lap. 2.7 seconds between 9 cars. And we're on lap 6.
And hang on, because it's going to be another shot here around the outside from Dawson. He's a little bit further along this time. Will he get the nose ahead? He's going to have to go deep around the outside. De Bono's got the inside here. Still an overlap there. De Bono tried to cover it off. He's defended that one really well. Runs wide at the second to last corner. Now it's going to be Dawson who gets great drive through there. Dawson is nose to tail now with Harry Dodds. Dodds just about makes contact, and that would be disaster for both of them in front of a pack of 9 cars. Down the inside, this will be Stevie Martin who's looking to try and pick off Clutterbuck. Clutterbuck's going to defend it. Clutterbuck in the dirt. Is this one going to go to Stevie Martin? Yes. Martin gets down there. Nearly runs wide at turn number 3. So it's not quite done yet. Still looking to defend this one, and Martin
Howie coming up.
Gets the job done. Howie lurking beneath the surface. Can the performance sim racing driver get the drive he needs? He's still there. Clutterbuck's got to defend. Looking for the crisscross. He'll flip. Clutterbuck will try and defend on the run in the Moss corner. And finally, they settle it back down.
Wow. Oh, the car.
Oh, is that Bradbury? No, it's Martin.
That was Stephen Martin.
I wonder if there wasn't contact there. I don't think Stevie Martin would have done that. I think he's been assisted.
He's got away with that with no damage there, though. He's done a good job, and all the other cars going through to avoid him. But, yeah, you're right. Oh, no. We see Bradley War spin there.
Well, I tried talking him up. I really did. He's a series admin, does a lot of work getting these servers set up, does Bradley Wall. Well, you'd think that luck would go his way when you do those sorts of things. Apparently not. Schultze snuck back inside the top 10, and now Bruce Tanek will be saying, look, I was kind whilst we're in that bank of traffic, but I think I need to lead this one here, Schultze. You follow me through. That flash of the brake lights there, ladies and gentlemen, that's generally drivers saying, I'm going to give you this spot. That's why they do it.
Yeah, a very gentleman thing to do there. You know, you haven't got the pace. You might as well let the car swap over and you follow him and work your way up to the next pack.
I'm not going to fight you, is what it says. Very, very critical, because you've got headlights out the front of the car. You can flash those. What you can't flash is headlights backwards, so you've got your brake lights. That's how you do it.
Yep, and then just let that car go. You jump on the back of him and push through.
Well, back up to our lead pack as well. Keep your eyes on this little pack that's forming down towards the tail end of things. Tixier's back up to P18 at this point in time. And oh no! Cowie's not gone off! He's gone off a little bit more, and is that Tanek? No, it's Troy Dooley that's just snuck by. So Cowie is gonna be struggling on those rear tyres. It is a horde. De Bono will get an image of that one in a moment from Cowie.
Yeah, he's just gone a bit too wide. He's kept it off the wall, though. He's done a good job. He's only lost about 5 positions there and keeps it off the wall and keeps going. So it's a lucky break there for Cowie.
You know what he does for fun, Tyson? I do know that you know what he does for fun. A, it's race V8 Supercars, but B, he'll jump over on a Assetto Corsa.
Oh.
Car diving to pit lane. We'll get down there. Quacia's trying to get in there, and Tixier has just jumped on the radio and said something as well. So there's something for Sebastian Tixier to have race control, have a look at. But getting back to Cowie, he drifts. He goes to other games that have the option of drifting, and he drifts for fun. That's what he does.
Yeah, he tries to drift. He's probably not very good at it, but he goes right out sideways on his average sim. That's what he calls himself, Cowie, the average sim. He's got a handbrake, he's got indicators, he's got everything you think you need in a road car. And it's not the drifting he wanted to do tonight, that's for sure.
He says he's the average sim racer. I don't think the average sim racer can finish P3 in this field. He's done that already tonight. Well,
that's right, I agree.
You only get one of those, but look, he's done a phenomenal job so far, Cowie, and he'll try and fight his way back through. The response effort will be amazing.
He's already on the charge.
Tixier and his fight back through the field, because I think he's just not found where he wants to be, and he's right now, he's in a horde of cars. This is our leaders as well, ladies and gentlemen. It's split up from 9 cars. We lost Cowie out of that pack. It's down to 4 right at the front end of town. Robbie Bradbury's starting to push on, see what he can get done. Clutterbuck's not going away. De Bono is still leading the pack, and we're 11, nearly 12. We will tick over to 12 minutes this time by, and still 3/4 of the race effectively left to run.
Yeah, I think also that the gear ratio, I think Dylan might be running a shorter gear ratio. That's why Andrew always gets up alongside him at the back straight there, and Dylan gets away in the midsection, because it seems to be that Dylan might be running the 142 gear ratio and it might be the 1000 gear ratio on the other car.
Well, that's the technical know-how there of Tyson McAvoy. He helps set up these cars, helps keep his team in tip-top shape. We've already seen what that's gone for the boys over there so far tonight. And Dodsey has got a shot here. I think he's...
Yeah, Dodsey had a poor exit there, so he got a lot of wheel spin and he's actually dropped a bit. So...
Is he biding his time, do you think, Tyson? He's just waiting for the pit stop, maybe saving a little bit more fuel. It's a big fuel fill in these cars, and it's a critical part of their pit stops.
So if you remember what we said in that break, the lap time that I said to Dodsey and we talked about in our pre-race was around lap 12. So Dodsey might roll the dice in a couple of laps. We're about to find out.
Well, 10 laps in. Expected to go maximum distance of 34 laps. Probably going to get around 31, 32 laps should be the distance. 40 minutes. Depends if we get a safety car intervention. That'll shorten the race dramatically as well, and that will roll the dice. Field started to spread. Everyone's sort of running around there which way, and have a look at Troy Dooley.
Well, off the front there. Stefan, ooh. He just went, I think he ran a bit wide, got the dirt, and he just smacked the wall there.
Well, I can tell you from experience that curb on the left-hand side at turn number 1, it's not as straightforward as you think it is. You know, you drop a tyre over it awkwardly, and it'll spit the car straight in the fence. Or with a Porsche car.
That's a lap car there getting out of the way for the leaders here, but look how much they're bunched up again.
Yeah, well, none of them got through Moss Corner that time, single file. They all had to take a narrower entry line. Now, De Bono will be hugely under threat. Dawson is going to look to go to the outside here, do a little bit of side drafting, pull him back, a little bit of door banging. Dawson wants to squeeze him onto a narrower line. De Bono is going to try and break deep right around the outside. This is Dawson's best shot, and you know who's really going to benefit here? It's going to be Harry Dodds. He'll have a dive down here in a minute, and Dodds, I think, is going to hang up. I think that might have been the opportunity to pit there, Tyson.
I agree. I was just about to say the same thing. That pit window should be open. It's getting towards the halfway mark, but if you're sitting here losing track time, as you just said, you want to undercut, you want to get through it, it's probably the best time. Let's see what they do next lap.
Pit lane transit time, is that the critical factor? Maybe Doddsy's looking at the track and going, oh, if I get fresh tyres, I'm going to get held up by traffic. But at the same time, there's going to be a whole horde of cars behind him. He jumps in, they'll all jump in the next lap. They do not want to be undercut here by Doddsy.
Yeah, that's also the other thing is lap traffic. We've got a big field here, and if he does take the risk, who knows where he will come out.
Critical to note, do not fall off the lead lap. That is crucial to the safety car intervention. Tixier's not had the night that he wants. Bruce Tanek had an awesome night in race number 1, not so in race number 2, but he's responded better. Back up to P number 8 and still charging through. And is that Cowie? That's just Cowie right in front of him. So Tanek is going to tag on here. Cowie's struggling to get by Jeremy Bush, who's doing a great job defending. I think Tanek's going to have a go on a performance sim racing driver. Around the outside, squeezing. Tanek's just looking for any overlap, looking for any weakness. He's got the pace.
Dodds is in pit lane.
The ability. So there's the undercut. Has been triggered. Dodds is in.
Yeah, so as I said, we would probably see Doddsy in the pit lane around this mark, and it's lap 12, and that's exactly when he pitted. So I'm glad he's listening to the team instructions, and let's see how this strategy plays off.
Mate, are you just telepathically signaling him? Is that what's going on here?
Harry Dodd sometimes also has the stream up, so he could be listening to us, so he could be taking those tips from us here. But it's going to be interesting to see how those leaders respond.
He rejoins in P16. I bet almost the entire lead pack will be in. He's tagged into near clear traffic. There's one car just in front of him, and then he's got a whole swath of reasonably clear track. Dodds will come out with the lead at this stage.
Oh, Cowie's
wide for Cowie. It's such a tricky track, and if you miss it, we talked about it earlier on, you miss it by an inch, you miss it by a mile, and he just barely gets the car pulled up, turns it back onto the track. Well, just because we're in North America, I apologise to everyone. They use the metric system up here in Canada. It's okay. Miles and inches, not worth talking about.
Let's see how these guys respond, because there's a nice big gap there now. Those guys might want to just stick out 1 or 2 more laps, keep those fresh tyres, and that's what they do. It's going to be interesting to see lap time comparing to Dodds on those fresh boots.
So, lap times to be aware of at this point in time. Dylan DeBono's just done a 1:18.116, 17.959, 17.986, 17.990. Nothing between those top 4. They're all clustered up right there together. This is currently Harry Dodds' warm-up lap. He's out there just getting the tyres to trigger, come back to him. He's got Brad Wall just in front of him. He'll try and get on and clear him as soon as possible. Indeed, I think he's already on to Wally. Yeah, he'll dive down the inside and run into turn 1. So we won't get the best opportunity of a crack at turn number 1 this lap. But this is the critical lap. If he is 2 seconds quicker, he won't just clear these guys. He'll come out with a country of rear view mirror behind him that'll be empty.
Yeah, you can see all the track position behind Cowie, even there as he's in the top 8. And there's a lot of, cars here. But there we see Harry Dodds in the background pushing hard. I think he's in P17, 15 overall at the moment.
Stevie Martin's had that spin earlier on. This is his attempt at a recovery effort at the moment. Caught up behind Chris Miller. Miller will fire into the barrier on the right-hand side of things, and that is not what Miller wanted to see. Down the inside, I tell you what, Alan Dawson's just caught a pit road. So, the first cars to blink, Clutterbuck and Bradbury stay out. So it's going to be Del Bono, Clutterbuck, Bradbury.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see this rejoin now, as we see a few of these front runners, as we get towards that halfway mark, as we said, take that pit stop.
Well, I'm curious what Bruce Tanek's going to do. Is he in pit lane? No, he's stayed out another lap. Oh, he is in.
Tanek is in pit lane. He's taking his tyres now, grabbing that fuel. as long as they can get that fuel number, as we see a few cars dropping now, and Dodds has already gone past.
Well, they drop. Where does Dodds rejoin in relation to, I believe it was Dawson. Dawson was the guy that just rejoined. Dodds has come out ahead of him, and there's a reasonable gap there too. It's nearly, what, 1.5, 2 seconds.
So, yeah, Doddsy had a good lap there, and I think he wasn't purple, Doddsy, last lap. He did a 17.6, I think.
Yes, Harry Dodds just did a 1:18.189, so it's actually slower from Harry Dodds. So, but he did have to dive down the inside of a car. So Dodds' pace advantage has not worked yet, unless he's trying to bring those tyres in. The gap between Dodds and Dawson is now down to a second. So Dawson has got a car to pull himself along.
Yeah, and another car has also been dragged into this party there. And then we got a few second gap to the P6 and P7.
So Robbie Bradbury has just tagged on the back end of this one. 1:18.3 now for De Bono and Clutterbuck. Bradbury's still out there, 17.9. He's the quickest car on track in this lead bunch that are yet to pit. 18.8, Jeremy Bush in P4. Cowie, 18.9. So Cowie is getting held up there behind Jeremy Bush. Maybe time to undercut him. Cowie will be looking at the under and overcut to try and clear Jeremy Bush and just get by him nice and quickly. Troy Dooley now files through pit lane. Nobody else has blinked from that lead pack. Jeremy Bush has just dropped a ton of spots as well.
Yeah, I think he went up there and smacked the wall. As you see him still running a bit wide, and he's going to drift it. So we cut away there.
Bruce Tannick now is going to follow back through. Is that Dawson? No, it wasn't Dawson. It was Lang.
SW car.
It was a Sinkovic. It was an Andrew Lang and Dean Sinkovic are the two cars that escorted themselves wide to make way for Bruce Tannick. So Tannick is absolutely flying. Now we move on to a different battle. It's going to be Daniel Schultz all over the rear wing here of Cowie. And he caught him up in such a quick way there to Daniel Schultz. So Cowie is either struggling, he's got damage, something's not going, he hasn't quite got the grip he wants from Cowie.
Yeah, look at the grip he has around the outside here, and he's just...
Cowie will dive, should dive into the pit lane. Should dive, does so. Yeah, that's the right decision based upon where he was there.
Yeah, very good option there to dive in the pit lane. He wasn't going to win that battle, and it's probably best to get that fresh boots on because we still see our leaders that haven't pit yet.
Yep, so keeping an eye on the lap times that last time by. Tixier's now come through the lane. Cowie in the lane. So a whole host of cars starting to pit. Tixier pit on lap 3. My apologies, that was his drive-through penalty early on in the piece. But Pavlovich still missing a front bonnet. Well, that's one way to cool the car down.
Yeah, it's a very strange way to have some aerodynamics, but it's, as you said, good way to cool the car down.
Well, if you've got overheating issues, that'll do it. But yeah, not a quick car by any stretch of the imagination. Worry that Pavlovich hasn't pit yet and potentially served a fast repair, get that car back up to its brand new state. Right, back up front, De Bono. Where are they on track? They're heading into the S's at this point in time. That's going to be critical to keep your eyes on. I think that's Jeremy Bush that's just run wide. Pavlovich will grab another spot. De Bono, does he pit? I think he's got to pit before everyone behind him. No. The queue behind De Bono continue to file through the pits. De Bono's running this as long as possible, and Bradbury's going to go with him, but Clutterbuck, another driver, opts to just go on by. And I tell you what, the last time by, it was about 3/4 of a second quicker for the guys with fresh tyres. So Dodds is starting to close that margin.
But I still see De Bono running a great lap time. He did an 18 flat last lap, so his lap time, his personal best is a 17.76, and he just did an 18 flat. So he's looking after those tyres quite well.
Yeah, and it's traffic. This is the critical factor. They do not want to get caught up in it. Well, we were looking for quick lap times. Harry Dodds just said, you know what? Time to bang out an absolute barnstormer. He's gone to the top of the time charts that lap with a 17.494, taking a huge margin. And Bruce Tannick just set the fastest lap of the race. So he's going to set it in both races so far, 17.101. So Tannick is charging.
He's up one position from where he started, as he was the winner from the last race, and now he's up one spot, charging through the field with a purple lap.
Well, critical time to do it for Bruce Tannick. That could be a whole host of spots when he comes out the other side of a pit stop. He is only 5 seconds back now off the 101 car, and I just can't quite see who that is. It will be Clutterbuck. So he is charging on a Clutterbuck, who had that fastest lap for such a long period of time.
Yeah, some good lap times out there as the rest of the field start to file in. I think Dylan DeBono's gone around again, and he's just keeping these boots on. He might be going away until the fuel's dropped.
Well, remember that Commodore that was missing a front boot lid? Well, that one's just filed in. I was just about to say that's going to be a tricky one for these guys to round up, but just pits because Dodds was just about to tag onto the rear bumper of him, so that's worked out perfectly for Harry Dodds.
Yeah, he's going to get some more fresh air now as we see him making... Is that a position?
So let's start to unravel this just a little bit. So Dawson's gone with him. Dawson was right underneath the rear bumper of Dylan DeBono. He was trying to throw it as best as he could. Dodds has jumped him, but Dodds has got worse tyres now on. 2 laps is the differential between those guys. Are they going to fade in a big way? And can DeBono on a track that's tricky to overtake on make full advantage of that? That's what we've got to come your way. Clutterbuck was there and he was with those guys. He pit 5 laps after Harry Dodds. He's still there. He's still hanging with those guys right there in the back of the shot right now. So he'll tag on and he'll come with a whole head of steam. And I tell you what, Dawson won't be waiting around. Dawson will get past Doddsy here and clear him. Doddsy's going to defend to the inside. We've seen this a lot so far tonight. DeBono now pits from the race lead. Will yield that one over. Dawson didn't think that he could get around the outside here of Harry Dodds. This is crucial. These guys might work together. You know what? Dawson might have heard the call. DeBono was pitting and bailed out of it because he wanted to clear him.
Yeah, you don't really want to fight these tyres, especially when you know your race leader's pit lane. And I think the boys have cleared DeBono.
Where's Dylan DeBono come back out? We'll have to keep our eyes on that one. DeBono is 3 seconds off the rear bumper of Daniel Clutterbuck. They've cleared him in a huge way. DeBono's had a disastrous stop.
Yeah, DeBono's going to be fresh rubber though. He's going to have at least 6-7 laps clear tyres, but he's got to, again, fight for those positions to get past those cars.
The best thing that can happen right now for Dylan DeBono that he wants to see is he wants to see Clutterbuck get up there to Dawson and fight him. He wants to see them squabbling, and then he'll just close on in quietly and go bang, right there, get the move done. That's his race scenario. Bruce Tanak, 2.5 seconds back off him. Bruce Tanak has played himself into this one.
Yeah, after his earlier mistake, he's definitely played himself back into this race.
And Sebastian Tixier is hanging out there trying to make the most of potentially a mid-race safety car. Would play right into his favour. We were talking about this. 15 minutes left in this race. You saw a safety car about now. You might just hang out.
Yeah, he hasn't pitted yet. He's up 27 spots. And he's probably up waiting for that safety car to come out because he had his earlier drive-through penalty, but hasn't stopped him. He's pushing hard.
Petar Pavlovich is going to try and go the long way around Matty Keane. Got a huge launch up the straight. He'll get ahead of him before they even get to the corner. Job done. Petar Pavlovich much faster now that he's got a bonnet back on that car.
And the bonnet looks much better on the top of that car now.
Robbie Bradbury actually is continuing to go on. So it's not just Tixier who's continued on with this one. There's 2 drivers that are just going to take lap after lap after lap. How late do you leave it? How are you going to run this tank dry?
Yeah, well, it's going to benefit you in the long run. As we said, we know the tyres fall off the cliff as we see contact here with Harry Dodds.
Well, that's
and
Michael
it's a lap car.
Trying to get out of the way and trying to be as respectful to the race leaders as he possibly can. Tight part of the circuit. That may cost Dodds when they get down to the tail end of the straight here, because all of a sudden, that's opened a little bit of a door for Dawson. He's still right there, but Dawson's got great straight line speed. That thing is flying at the end of the straight.
Yeah, maybe the whack at the end of the straight there gave him a bit of an aero wash where it doesn't set to the side. And yeah, he's holding on to his position there. P3 on track at the moment, as we see the leader now in pit lane.
Robbie Bradbury is going to cycle through pit lane. Tixier will stay out. Tixier, look at a lap lead. Yay!
But if you see in the background, I do see DeBono lurking there as we see him on the exit there.
Robbie Bradbury might actually overcut him. Bradbury is around the outside on the run into turn number 2. Bradbury has done the overcut. That is not what we were expecting.
Yeah, he's done a great stint there to overcut Dylan DeBono, unless DeBono had a really bad pit stop. But, hey, an overcut's an overcut.
You take it any way you can. And Ferrari strategists make heed. This is what you want to be watching because you might learn something from the Sim Racing World V8 Supercars drivers. These drivers, by and large, he saved it! He saved it!
Dylan's going to have the run here. Is he going to use the tow to his advantage, or is he just going to go for the pass as we see Dodds now under attack right in front?
Yeah, so it's battling for multiple positions down here. Dawson has got to the inside, so that will be moved on. Sorry, Dawson's gone to the outside. My apologies. Doddsy's around the inside. Dawson real deep, trying to pull that car up and turn it. You just can't get it done around there. And now Clutterbuck's got an opportunity to have another crack here at Dawson. It was Dawson who attacked Clutterbuck early on in the race when Clutterbuck tried to have it go down the inside. Now it's going to be Andrew Cowan trying to go down the inside of Schultze, still there, still even through the second last corner. They'll come to the last corner. Cowie gets it done.
What a great move, Cowie. A great...
Oh, the fence!
That's John, I think, yeah, the green performance sim racing car there into the fence. Oh, he's just not having a good day today, John.
And Schultze will pick up a whole bunch of curb on the inside there, lift it off, got a whole bunch more grip. I didn't think he was expecting there for half a moment, but that's a great job from Daniel Schultze. 15 spots gained in race number 2. If he doesn't belong with the qualifying performance he put on, he absolutely belongs in Super 1. Hang on.
A safety car here. We might be getting one. And guess who's in the lead? And who wanted the race, the safety car late?
Tixier. Tixier was hanging out for a very late safety car. The biggest issue, though, is that he's going to get fobbed right to the rear end. It is a safety car. Well, can Tixier make it to the end on fuel? That's now become the question. 30 minutes in.
I'm certain.
Hasn't served us to stop.
He's pitted. He's taken his pit stop. He's basically got a free pit stop. He's going to have fresh tyres, and we know he's got the pace.
Well, DeBono's got the freshest tyres in this lead group, followed by Bradbury. Bradbury torched the rears, but he'll get another shot at this one. Condense them all up. Dodds.
Now he's in pit lane as well.
Is said and done. Harry Dodds will come out with the race lead after all that pit strategy. Tixier is going to rejoin P8 by the time they get to the exit of the pit lane.
Yep, Cowie's also taken to the pit stop to get his fresh boots.
Have a crack. Why not? Safety cars breed safety cars, and there may not be enough time left in this race for another safety car.
Yeah, this would probably be the last safety car. Whew. We can take a breath now.
We can take a breath, but for how long?
Well, that's right. For how long? I think we still got 9 minutes left in this race, and we're not going to go the full race distance now. There's safety cars involved. There's 10 laps to go, but 9 minutes. So, yeah, we're definitely going time certain. Harry Dodds has the control of the field as Dylan Thomas, our safety car drivers, leads the back.
Well. Late race safety cars always create mayhem. If you're in Tixier's shoes, you just got gifted Christmas present, birthday present, the next 5 years of both of those, all up in one big serving. DeBono's backing it off, looking to conserve his tyres. Let's talk about tyre situations, Tyson, because that's critical. When have all these drivers pit? What are they looking to do?
Yeah, tyre situation, especially when it's you've been out there battling and wearing the tyres. So on the restart with a supercar, they get very cold again, but there's no grip. So you've got to be very careful on the restart, and Harry's got to really time it perfect.
Dodds will have control of the field. That's his one big saving grace. Huge pack coming through Moss Corner. We might get one more lap under safety car. We might see it peel off. It's just condensed the field. I think we're going to see a second lap from the Sim Racing World safety car. Once more, ladies and gentlemen, we will do that. Safety car has just done another lap past the pit lane entry, and it's too late to release the field. So we will see one more lap from the SRW safety car. We'll go back to green flag racing at the start of lap 26, end of lap 25. It's going to be a short sprint. We're going to have about 6 minutes left of this race, probably a fraction less than that.
We're going to get some wave rounds done now, and then we're probably going to go straight to green. But we've had a sprint race for the first one, 20 minutes, 17 laps, and then a nice break, and then a technical sprint race again. And now we're going to have another sprint race at the finish. This is going to be awesome.
And everything is all mixed up. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, look at all the chaos that unfolded at both of our starts so far this evening. Drivers that have got a huge opportunity. Let's talk about the drivers that just pit under that caution. Let's talk about Sebastian Tixier and Andrew Cowan. Tixier has come out with P8. He had the lead when that safety car was called, immediately dived on the pit lane. Cowie, I think Cowie's only lost a few spots, and he's got a fresh set of boots here. But he's struggled to get past Jeremy Bush, and guess who he lines up behind again?
Yep, so Cowie's taking the gamble there. We did talk about it in our pre-race to see what would be the best alternative, and this was a part of our strategy. So Cowie's taken the opportunity to get that fresh rubber and go for the gamble. You know, he only lost 2 positions on track, and he's got the fresh boots. So hopefully he can push through and get a decent result here. We saw him in race 1. He had the pace up the front, so he's going to have the pace here. And then, as you said, we got Sebastian there as well. So perfect opportunity. 21 positions he's gained with a drive-through penalty. He's having a great comeback race for his second one.
Right, Tyson, your driver from here that you think can get this done.
I think it's too hard to call. So it's going to be up to Dodds to see how good he can defend. So he is my teammate, so I'm going to back him.
I think De Bono's had an unlucky night. I think you've got to back De Bono in. He's got the freshest tyres right at the front of town. That is Tixier you see weaving back there. That's how far back he is. He has brand spanking new tyres. He is an option to dive through. Safety car has now entered pit lane. That is the rear wing of Harry Dodds. There is 5 minutes on the clock as we cross back through. Dodds is gone. Here we go racing.
Yeah, Dodds has made the prime restart there. We saw on the Thurs and on his restart. He went around.
And Andrew
this time
Cowan,
he gets it done.
Andrew Cowan just got a huge check up by Jeremy Bush. Jeremy Bush struggled to get out of that last corner very quickly. That'll be Bradley Wall who'll dive to his inside. Wall's on older tyres. Matty Keen's on fresher tyres. Now, here comes the responding fresh tyres from Cowan up underneath that rear wing. This has been the tricky car. He's struggled to get, sends it to the inside. Bush is struggling as well. He's on older tyres. They aren't all that old. They're about 8 laps old, but that is a huge grip differential. He'll shove the nose in here, will Cowie. Jeremy Bush will respect it, and everyone is still straight. He crosses over. He's looking for everything. This is critical. Cowie's got to get by straight away. He wiggles under acceleration, and that is Bradley Wall down the inside of him. Now Cowie's going to have to defend on the outside of the Mario Andretti straight away. Cars in behind these guys as Keenan, Stefan Lawrence are going to go side by side as well. And safety cars get exciting because here comes Alan Dawson. We've seen this ride all night from Dawson. Hasn't been able to stick it, and Dodds will hang on to it once more.
Yeah, Dodds had great car positioning there, went on the inside line and then come across the nose and brake perfectly to get the exit there, but he's definitely under pressure. And De Bono is up 1 spot.
De Bono's already grabbed 1. So De Bono gets down the inside of Clutterbuck here, and that's now going to open the door for Robbie Bradbury. So Bradbury will try and get around the outside here. Had a quiet race. Bruce Tannock lurking as well, and Clutterbuck gets a little bit wide, redresses it, hangs on to it, but 3 cars sail on by, and one of those is Tixier.
Ooh, this is going to be a great finish here. De Bono grabs a spot of clean air and the freshest tyres, so that move is definitely going to be
very,
on.
very wide. I don't know who that was. John Day's still wide. It's a whole bunch of cars at the tail end of the field. It hasn't been impacted too heavily. Oh no! Oh no! Andrew Cowan back in P20th. Something has happened there as well. And he is crawling. He's done.
Yeah, Cowie must have hit the wall. We're going to get the option replay right now. Oh.
We might review this one post-race, I think. We'll have a look at what's happened to Cowie because right now we've got 3 minutes left in the race, 2.5 minutes. There's going to be 2 laps left to run as they cross the line this time by. His teammate, Andrew Cowan, didn't have a great race in this one, but Harry Dodds is having a cracker and he will lead the field back with probably what is 2 laps left to run here tonight. Dawson has been looking at that rear wing for far too long. He wants to see fresh air. Clutterbuck now going to try and get back down the inside of Robbie Bradbury. He got a serving last time. Tixier grabs a piece of grass and it'll wiggle all over the road as well.
Yeah, well, that was great car control there.
Clutterbuck, I thought he was gone with the pinch brake. Oh, Bradbury's struggling. Bradbury's had a huge moment as well.
Oh, he's sideways. Oh, wow, that's great car control. But he was sideways on entry. Holds it. No car contact.
3 wide. 3
and
wide.
oh,
That's
Oh,
Martin's
he's
going
gonna
to try and
force
go
it.
around the outside, and this is teammates in the KFC liveries from Century Motorsports. Pavlovich hasn't had a great race number 2 either. He's going to try and go around the outside. Team orders have gone missing at Century Motorsports.
Yep, and that's going to put him under threat as well from the car behind, and it's going to be on as well up the front as we see Harry still under threat from Dawson.
Well, Dawson has been trying to get this move done on Harry Dodds since these cars have pit, and it's still trying to be done. But now Dylan DeBono with a fresh set of tyres is right there. White flag will come out, and DeBono will get the other.
He's ran wide.
He won't need to because Dawson runs wide. Now Bruce Tannock was nowhere. Now he's back to P3, and Dawson's lost all the marbles.
Yep, so now it's all on DeBono. Can he push through and get Harry Dodds on this last lap?
And Bruce Tannock runs wide as well, so he is pushing as hard as he possibly can. Sebastian Tixier, 29th on the grid, 5th so far, and holding off Dan Schultz. Schultz will still be thinking he's got a chance of a P5 in this race, and what a race from Dan Schultz.
Oh, mate, I'm lost for words. This is an intense race. As you said, we had a breather, but now it's on. Oh,
it was nearly like they said, you know what, catch your breath up in the commentary box. We're going to serve it up. DeBono is closing.
Tixier went a bit wide there. Oh, there's contact.
From Schultz and Tixier back across the corner, and that's it. That'll be it from both cars there tonight. Tixier's luck runs out once more. Have a look back up ahead of things. Robbie Bradbury's going to sneak through.
Yep.
Have a whole bunch of spots. Stephen
gap
Martin's
at the
down the inside here. The Century Motorsports guys are going to hang on to this one. And Harry Dodds from the Performance Sim Racing driver. Pit at the right time. Undercut. DeBono will show the nose. DeBono will have a crack, but it won't matter because Harry Dodds wins from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Well done to Harry Dodds there. Yeah, he drove his butt off. Well done to DeBono as well, bringing home P2. And then Tannock, and it's just Alan Dawson, a simple mistake there on the second last lap. And just
Jeremy Bush is missing a rear wing. So there is a whole lot to unravel here. My word. Cars are still crossing the start-finish line, ladies and gentlemen, so we're not quite done with conclusion of proceedings here. But, well, Doddsy will be happy with that finish. DeBono's driven it really well back. I think his strategy's let him down just a little bit. Bruce Tannock's going to go on and file by. He'll be happy with P number 3 after being backwards on the first lap. Anytime you can say from the barriers to P3, that's a good night.
Yeah, he's had a pretty good drive there and definitely bringing it home in a good position as we see Harry pulling over now to get set for his, I think his burnouts, his solitary burnouts on the back straight.
I think he's just waiting for everyone to no, there is a whole bunch of licorice straps being laid down behind Doddsy. I'm not a huge fan of licorice, mate, but I am a fan of those licorice straps you're leaving there. Well, there'll be replays to have a look at here from the last couple of laps. Yeah.
Yes. So we'll get the round winners up here in the down into the booth. So bear with us for a second.
Oh, it's been a cracker. Well, I can tell you, with a P1 and a P3, that will be Bruce Tannock more than likely winning a round. Although the race
P4 and a P1.
Cowie, no. I think what's going on up here in the commentary booth right now is basically we've had all this energy, and then all of a sudden we're at the end of a race and none of us know what to do with it anymore. So how this works, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of round points for the guys on a Sunday night here in the V8 Supercar Series is effectively there's a multiple of 50. So for a sprint race, it's worth 50 points for your winner, and then etc. back throughout the field. Then for that, so that's per 20 minutes effectively of the race. Race one's worth 50 points for a win. Race two, 40 minutes. You double that, it's 100 points, and it works the same for every other position as it is. So race two is effectively worth double the points of race number one. So Bruce Tannock, even though he won race number one, P3 may not be good enough for the overall round victory. So that's why we're doing points here in the background. It's a nice little system. It rewards the length of time that you put in constructing a race, and I think that's the critical part. Tyson, your thoughts on a point system?
Yeah, that's right. So, you got to have especially with the sprint at the start and then the reverse top 10, it just shows that you got to put the hard effort in, get back to the front from the reverse grid, and your first race as well means a lot. It adds those points total, and as we try to work it out, because we got the points here, the finishing results here, and look at the gaps here. Even though we had that safety car restart, you still got to drive clean and push and get those points.
I get the feeling that Tannock will probably still be a round winner. So, reminder for Harry Dodds, wins the feature race here tonight from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, but finish P4 in your first race. I think that's just a little bit too far back to be able to tag on and win the round. He'll be very, very close. I think it'll be P number 2 for him overall. Dylan DeBono started from pole position, may have stayed out just a little bit too long, waiting for things to go his way. Will still pick up P number 2. Race number 2 looks a lot better for Dylan DeBono. Bruce Tannock, what a drive. In the fence on lap number 1, back to P number 3, and maybe picking up the round victory. Alan Dawson, I heard on the radio, did actually get an equal third position on the round overall. That's a great drive from him. Connor Bucks had a reasonable night as well. Had the fastest lap of the race, the Melville Engineering fastest lap from race number 2 for such a long period of time, and Tannock will walk away with both of those here this evening. Stevie Martin's done well to finish inside the top 6. Robbie Bradbury, the teammates there, 6, 7, 8. Petar Pavlovich rounds it out for Century Motorsports. P9, Paul Gerlin. That's a quiet result. That's a great result for Paulie Gerlin. He's come out of nowhere for that one. Chris Miller will round out your top 10. And Tyson, Jeremy Bush, I think he's going to be a little bit disappointed with that because the top 10 was on the cards for him.
Yeah, definitely going to be disappointed with that. Top 10 was going to be there. But as you're right, Paul Gerlin with a bit of under the radar, and he come back and got a nice top 10 finish there, so P9.
I think that's what Cowie was looking for, was an under the radar performance. Unfortunately, he qualified at the front of the second row, so you no longer go under the radar when you do that.
Yeah, so I think Cowie, he was pushing hard. He had the fresh rubber, and he's pushing and made that little mistake. And as we saw in the replay, just got on the grass, and it spun him around. So he'd be disappointed with that. He had a beautiful race one, and then a bit unfortunate. Played the gamble, it didn't pay off, and he's down the finishing order there.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, so we're just getting our order finalized. So it is a it's a two-way tie for P number 3 between Dylan DeBono and Alan Dawson, I believe. Actually, squashed that. Sorry, I squashed that. We're still figuring things out in the background. Bear with us. No, it'll be Harry Dodds that comes away with third position on the.
Yeah, because he got the win.
Yeah. That second race is worth more.
Yeah, but it's a tie. We'll be straight to Dodds because he got the win.
Yep. There we go. So we've worked it out. There's no way Robbie Bradbury comes away with a P2 after that race too. No way Bradbury comes away with a P2. Well, we'll have a chat to them and we'll figure it all out. Ladies and gentlemen, talking to who we currently have down as your P3 recipient from race number 2. Winner of race number 2, P3 overall. Points pending. Harry Dodds. Tyson, I'm humming and hurrying about whether or not I let you do this interview, but I've come to the conclusion that the banter between you and Harry Dodds is too good to deny, so have at it.
Well, congratulations, first of all, Harry. An awesome drive, mate. You come home in P1 for the second race. You had a shaky first race, but nonetheless, mate, P3 overall for the round. How do you feel about that?
I generally feel pretty good about that. Thanks, Tyson and Scotty. Yeah, it was great battle. First of all, big shout out to Dylan, Robbie, and Bruce Tannick. Even to my teammate Cow as well for putting on such great pace. It was great battles all around. Good up and down the field racing, which is what we want. And yeah, I'm super stoked to grab that win. And like you said, P3 for the round. I'm really stoked with that.
Mate, when you have a look through the rearview mirror and you see Dylan DeBono on that restart late on, very fresh tyres. Are you worried?
Oh, I was for a bit then, but then I saw Tixer pit when the safety car came in. I'm like, oh god, here we go. He's got like 10 lap fresh tyres to me. He's going to go flying through. He ended up not doing that, and I was pretty relieved about that.
Yeah, he ended up having some late contact there, but he was definitely on the charge.
Yeah. Oh golly, wow. So yeah, big relief there. It's good to get that one off, and Dylan. Yes, I was a bit worried about because yes, he had fresh tyres, but it was also off. Another one I forgot to have a shout out there was Alan Dawson as well. Like he and I were having a good battle before the safety car, and then it was very good.
You were holding him off quite well there, mate, and you're holding the right lines. And it seems that little bit of driving you did earlier with the team, it's paid off. You're a bit shaky in those defensive moves, and you defended quite well. You come home with the win here, plus with the defense in the mid stages race there, mate. So congratulations on that. But any of your sponsors, mate? I see there's a few of them on the card. Do you want to just give them a quick shout out?
I'd love to do that. First to cover off the rank will be Toyo Sim, official supplier of camera, direct drive, and wheel and pedal base company. West End Motor Group, Too Easy Finance, Parramatta Isuzu Utes, cowmusic.com, Track Racer, Night Rider Designs, and your personal sponsor, as I know of Tyson, is #TalkToMeBro.
Yeah, that's excellent. Well done again, Harry. Any from you, Scotty, from the last?
No, look, I think he's done a cracking job. Congratulations, Doddsy. I made it easy for you on Thursday night, mate. It's okay.
Okay.
As well, for the broadcast, want to make that note. Harry's gone back-to-back at this track. He won here on Thursday, and he's done it again here tonight. So, well done, mate.
You can say thank you, Harry. It's okay.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great night, mate. Have a banger.
Yeah, all good. Thanks, boys.
Right, so we're still trying to figure out who ended up P2, but I believe it might be... Taking a quick look at our results, we confirmed Bruce Tannick won the round. That much is definitely for sure. I think DeBono's too far back.
Yeah, I think DeBono's first incident in race 1 would definitely hurt him there.
So I'm going to say that we probably just spoke to P2, and now we're going to speak to Dawson, I think, who might get P3? Or Bradbury. We'll speak to Robbie Bradbury either way. We've got him here in the booth. Robbie Bradbury. You're in the middle of a conversation there with the drivers. You always talk about things post-race. That's what it's all about. Bit of fun, bit of door banging. You and the teammates, certainly there was no team orders there at the end at all.
Team order? No, multi. It was multi 21.
Multi-send it, more like.
That was after the race. Nah, that was good fun. We didn't know which way to look at one stage, and then Steve's like, "Yeah, I'm right on the outside. We've got a car in the middle." Okay, there we go.
You sort of lifted off. I think was it you that lifted off who bailed out of that one because you were 3 wide for half a moment.
Oh, I don't know, mate. It was all happening. So,
talk to us about Canadian Tire. It's a tricky little track. You've got to play with that brake pedal and the throttle pedal in these cars all night long. Car balance, tire wear, it was just a huge puzzle. And I think you just about called the pit strategy right towards the tail end there.
I was hoping to, I was going to go short, the same as Harry, and then I wasn't sure whether he'd come out in traffic or not. So I thought I'd try and, play the reverse, take the long game. But then I didn't need that safety car really because I knew, it shortened up the race. So that pretty much... took that little bit of advantage.
I thought you had him.
Laps, so.
I really thought you had DeBono there because you come out just in front of him and squeezed and you managed to hang on to it. And then what's the feeling like? You head down in a moss corner, the rear comes out. What happened? Was it just too deep on the brakes? You picked the throttle up, not enough
Yeah,
traction?
I just did a big take slap. I just picked it up too early, and I was just hoping not to spin around and not collect him getting it back. But yeah, and then once he got the run, I'm like, there's no point fighting him, and then just gather up and hopefully get him a bit later. But that didn't eventuate. But no, that was really enjoyable. I actually had really good tyre life on my setup tonight, so it was yeah, really good.
Look, I mean, much more to say. It sounds like you had fun in race number one. You to be perfectly honest, you set the pole position. That was a banging lap. How do you feel coming out of things? You take a look up, you go, oh, P1. We're P1.
Yeah, it was the very first lap. Absolutely nailed it, and I just couldn't get it again. I just find I'd start the lap well, or vice versa. I'd get it back at the end. So yeah, that lap was nearly a PB, pretty much, bang on. I haven't gone any quicker than that. So to do it then was very timely. But the start, I wasted the start. Just sitting there, just thought I'd line some licorice lines up, and yeah. But anyway, still a good night overall.
Looks like you and the boys had fun. Look, to be perfectly honest, fighting with teammates at the end there, generally it's really nice and fun to have that battle, and it looked like you guys were having an absolute blast. So I'm going to say probably the shout-outs to start, the thank yous to Century Motorsports team is going to start with the team.
Yeah, no, that was it was definitely a lot of fun with the boys, and yeah, no, thank the boys, thank Lake Edge, 2 and 7 graphics, Fluoron Studio, Madcore Computers, Forks Oil, and last but not only, KFC.
Well, he's having some finger licking good after 2 bang-up races from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Robbie Bradbury, ladies and gentlemen. And finally, Tyson, my voice is done. This one's all yours. You can talk to good old Brucey Tannock.
Well, here comes I think our round winner, Bruce, mate. Pretty good to race 1. I'd say you finished nice and strong, P1, and then race 2. Whew. Give us your thoughts, bro.
Oh, I made it hard for myself. I tried to go around the outside on turn 3 on the first lap, and that made a meal of that and hit the grass. So I think I was back to like 20 something. But no, it's really good. I'm really impressed with the mix of cars, even though some guys aren't, right at the top of their speed. They race hard and fair, and if you make a pass, they give you room and everything. So I think it's awesome.
I think we should just race here every week, because everywhere we looked, there was just awesome battling going on. Up the front, in the middle, as you said, everyone's giving that race room. So it was great to see. But yeah, what was one of your highlights, definitely, from this race?
I think I got Moss hairpin right 1 lap, so that was a highlight. It literally stands for the most overrated sack of shit corner in the world, that thing.
I can agree with that. It was it's definitely tough, and once you get it right nicely, it's just like, yep, okay, I've done it. Can I do it next lap? No.
Yeah, exactly. you put it away in the well, shall we say, the wank bank, and then it never comes back for a fair while, which is a shame. Because if you get it right, it just sets up so many good passing manoeuvres, especially when traffic's backed up a little bit. But I pulled off a couple going into Moss over the top of the hill around the outside. I was pretty happy with that. It's good fun.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a lot of fun out there. The top 3 that entire. Then the safety car come out, and was the safety car good for you, or was it a bit of
it helped my position, obviously, definitely. But if I had because I had 6.5 laps of fuel left, so I spent way too long in the pits. I think I put 19 litres in. The way I worked it out, obviously, with the time and then covering your extra lap and possibly a skid or whatever, chucked in enough fuel to get there easily. And then, but yeah, I mean, it probably would have ended up roughly the same. But yeah, I shot myself in the foot running off on the first corner. If I had just been patient, probably had the pace to get, maybe if the safety car came out, I would have backed myself to get there. But a little bit of a free kick with Darren in South Africa and the Blake and Jamie and a few of the other boys missing the night. So that's not gonna get too excited.
But it's a round result that you needed, and definitely for round 2, it's got to be good.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, round one was the big fat donut. So someone tried to, I think it was lap one, came off the fence at a great rate of knots and then damaged me. And then I think it was actually the car who came off the fence, then hit someone else who then hit me again. So that was it. The car was toast.
Well, that's a good bounce back then for round two, mate. Any sponsors, anyone you want to thank out there before we wrap this stream up?
Oh, just shout out to Darren. He might have had a look at the stream in South Africa. He's just shot home for a week or so to catch up with family. So I think he's back he won't be back next week. I think he misses next week. He'll be at Ellis Park watching the All Blacks. So.
Watching the All Blacks get pumped, so it was definitely a good game of footy this morning, and
he'll be happy with that being a Safa. So yeah,
that's right, and it was definitely a good game of footy this morning. Anything from you, Scotty? Last words, mate.
Mate, we're off to Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace, Better Learners Interlagos next week. A lot more fast and flowing circuit. You think that's going to be a better one for you?
I think Motorsport, and I love Interlagos, but it's also a real hard place to pass. Because there's those, the tight section through the centre. I mean, turn one obviously gives you heaps of chances if you get a good run off the last corner and get someone, but it all depends on how much someone wants to fight. Because if you get the run and then they hold you on the outside, then they've got 2, 3, and yeah. So no, it's a cool track. I don't know, Motorsport's one of my favourites because it's just, I love going over the blind crests and just pinning it and feeling the car grip up. Try and put moss out of your mind and forget about that being, just wrecking each lap. But yeah, but Interlagos is good because I don't think there's any bogey corners there, and the straight's so long and so wide that you'll see probably cars 2, 3, 4 wide at times.
And that's what I want to see next week. That's for sure. Great racing, 4 wide, 3 wide.
We should have 30 plus easy next week for a big track like that. So, it should be good.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Bruce Tannick, your race number 2 winner, and we believe he is the round winner here this evening. Tyson, I'm going to need to start billing SRW for oxygen tanks, I think, at the end of that.
Well, for an action-packed race like that, mate, it was an awesome privilege to call it with you. You definitely had to catch your breath for a bit. If it wasn't for that safety car, we would have been, I think, putting a bill in, as you said.
My head's light. My head is actually light at the moment. That's how much fun I've had here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude all of the action here from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Big shout out once again to all of the sponsors as they trundle across the screen. Pagny Advanced Simulations, DSL Welding Services. We've got Melville Equipment on board. It was a great opportunity to see from them. Bruce Tannick walking away with both of their fastest lap awards, and Robbie Bradbury got their pole position from the first ever Melville Equipment Services qualifying session. And big final shout out to Dragon RC as well. Next week, we look to Interlagos, but before we get there, we've got your NASCAR Truck Series coming your way. The return of Oval Actions again tonight. It's tomorrow night from Darlington Raceway. It is known as the track Too Tough to Tame. We've got the series that's Too Tough to Tame. Who will come out on top? Tuesday night is your dirt sprint cars once again. We'll get muddy, we'll get dirty, and we'll send it sideways for more oval action. Wednesday will finally turn right again and right the rest of our week from Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace in the TCRs before we head to Suzuka for the Formula 3 Brands Hatch circuit. We'll get the Radicals underway on Thursday night. Once again, back to Interlagos for the Porsche Cup, following them on Thursday. And finally, the V8 Supercars next Sunday night from Interlagos. That will be a banger. 30-car field. And well, they got busy here at Canadian Tire. Can they get 4 wide? Can Rankin go any higher on the vocal cords? That's the questions we'll look to solve next week. It's been an absolute pleasure calling another SRW broadcast race for you. Tyson, final comments from you.
I'm looking forward to next week. It's one of my favourite tracks, but as we said, we've got our jam-packed full next week. So make sure you tune back in on the Monday and the Tuesday, and come watch me on the Wednesday in the TCR. So a big shout out. Good night from me, and I'm sure also a big shout out to Shibby, aka Toddy, for behind the scenes work. So thanks, mate.
The big Shib behind the scenes on the cameras. We didn't see the big Shib's favourite cameras, the one that spins around. That's a rarity when you get Shibby on broadcast and he doesn't do the overtaking cameras. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is SRW TV. See you tomorrow night for NASCAR Truck Series from Darlington Raceway I'm Scotty Rattlegun Rankin. That was Tyson McAvoy. On the cameras was Nathan Shibby Howard. And we'll be back again to do it all again tomorrow.